Um, Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your time. Thank you to the University of Barcelona for hosting us as South Africa and Naboy Consulting, allowing us to be part of this festival, 10 Alumnus 9 2021. Here, I'll be giving a small talk on nanovaccines in cancer immunotherapy. To start it off, when we talk about nanovaccines, we're talking about a form of technology which is called nanotechnology. With nanotechnology, we're looking at the manipulation or the engineering which uses different structures, very small structures, which are somewhere around 1 nanometer to 100 nanometers in size. These are manipulated on a molecular or an atomic level to form structures which can be beneficial in many different uses. As you can see here, just a few. We have graphene, we have liposomes, which are just biology in organic and inorganic structures. Nanotechnology has many applications in textile, biomedical and drug delivery, electronics, energy, just to name a few. So today we'll be focusing on biomedical and drug delivery. When we talk about biomedical and drug delivery, we're talking about a form termed nanomedicine. Nanomedicine is actually just an application of nanotechnology or the use of nanotechnological tools in medicine. So in nanomedicine, we're focusing on multiple different types of advances. We're looking at different advances in diagnostics, medical imaging, nanotherapeutics, vaccines, and regenerative medicine. So when we talk about nanovaccines in cancer immunotherapy, we're looking at the destruction of cancer cells. So cancer cells have a way of, just like other diseases, of fending off our immune systems and preventing it from performing its given tasks. So if you can see on this structure here, you can see these red lines. These red lines are sites, show blockages whereby there was supposed to be an interaction between this cell and this blue cell. This blue cell is actually, as you can see here, a CD8 T cell. So it's part of the immune system. So when the cancer cells prevent this interaction from taking place, they actually prevent the immune system from attacking them. So hence we have a new form of therapy, which is termed immunotherapy, which is unlike your chemotherapy. This one uses, actually tries to activate, it's more like reactivating the immune system, as I've explained here, that the cancer cells actually find ways of suppressing it. So here we have, as I explained, immunotherapy. These are the different treatment options that are available for cancer. You have surgery, you have bone marrow transplant, you have hormone therapy, you have radiation therapy, targeted therapy, chemotherapy, and yeah, immunotherapy. So with immunotherapy compared to other different forms of treatment, immunotherapy does not attack healthy cells. It only kills cancerous cells, and it gives the body protection after treatment, and it has limited side effects. And this cannot be said for other treatments. Other treatments don't provide protection for the body after treatment. They have many side effects, and they also uh, have that disadvantage of killing healthy cells, which is mainly the main cause of the many side effects that they live. And most of the patients who've undergone, such as your chemotherapy or your radiation therapy, have unfortunately lost their lives. So to continue with immunotherapy, immunotherapy has two parts. You have your passive immunotherapy and your active immunotherapy. With your passive immunotherapy, we're looking at the use of different molecules which are produced by the immune cells to fend off the cancer cells. And the active immunotherapy, we're looking at the use of different structures which form part of the cancer cells to actually alert the immune system again. As you can see here, we have peptide vaccines. So the vaccines, it's like when you hear the word vaccine, you're thinking protection against a virus or something that might infect you. But then this time around, the vaccines are used as a therapeutic measure to reactivate the immune system and allowing it to fend off and kill the cancerous cells. So cancer vaccines, we have cell-based, protein, peptide, viral or bacterial, and gene-based vaccines. These different types of vaccinations, they elicit different types of immune responses, some strong, some weak due to limited bioavailability. The main cause of this limited bioavailability is because these vaccines, they are not target specific, and some of them they get degraded by the chemicals within the human body, and thus preventing it from reaching the intended site whereby they're supposed to interact with the immune system cells, and thus giving an immune response as we hope for when we vaccinate a patient. So with your nanovaccines, the nanovaccines come into play whereby, whereby when we look at the other vaccines fail. So because they fail, we have introduced nanotechnological tools in vaccine formulation. The nanotechnological tools actually act as means of transportation for the vaccine itself. So they carry the vaccine and transport it to the intended site where they're supposed to interact with immune system cells and thus give off an immune response. As you can see on this image here, these are just some of the different structures which can be used to formulate our nano vaccines. So these structures, they can be altered in structure, and we can add different structures to them. We can add antibodies, as you can see on this one. The antibodies are on the surface, and we also have the antigen, and these adjuvants, which are just molecules which helps the antigen, which is the vaccine, to have better interaction and give off a better immune response once it reaches the intended site. So now, what does these do? They give a prolonged circulation within the blood system, and then because of we can change this structure um, and develop it anyhow, we can actually incorporate multiple antigens on it and different types of adjuvants and or antibodies. So this also allows for a very strong immune response. So these are just some of the materials which are used or have been suggested for use when it comes to different forms of uh, nano vaccines formulations. So we have organic nanoparticles and inorganic nanoparticles. These different structures are used for different purposes. So as you can see here, we have like your gold nanoparticles. The gold nanoparticle has gained much attention in a form of therapy which is termed chemo nanotherapy. Nanotherapy is mainly just a form of chemotherapy whereby nanotechnological tools are used for targeted drug delivery. So having seen those structures, so here, this is a structure whereby our nanovaccine, uh, we have two different structures of the nanovaccine. We have one whereby the nanovaccine is within the nanoparticle, and one whereby the vaccine is, or vaccine antigen is on the surface of the nanoparticle. So where here, whereby the antigen is on the surface, is when we're looking at a piece of the cancer cells, or of the viral cell or viral particle, or whichever pathogen we're dealing with. We incorporate it on the surface of the antigen. If it is stable enough to can thrive within the human body. And here we put, like, for instance, your protein vaccines and your DNA or mRNA vaccines, as they are unstable, so they cannot be put on the outside. So these are just different components which allows our nanoparticle to be target specific, meaning it cannot just interact with any cell at random. It only interacts with the intended or targeted cell. Here to show how the targeted drug delivery works. We inject the drug into the bloodstream, and here we have, like, nanoparticles which are not non-targeted, so they can just interact with any cell at random, and they have limited access to different cells within the body. But then these ones, as you can see here, they have these structures on the surface. These structures allows them to interact with the receptors on the surface of the cell, and thus they can enter into the cell and release the antigen within the cell, and thus lead to the whole process of immune system activation. So here's just a simple illustration of how the whole process works. Here you can see the nanovaccine. It has incorporated multiple antigens. As I've said, that it can carry a lot of antigens at once, and the adjuvants you can see in red. So now, once it's injected, it travels through the lymphatic vessels. It cannot interact with any cells at random. It just goes through until it reaches the lymph node. And within the lymph node, it, it will only interact with the dendritic cells within the lymph node. I will explain this later on. So here we also have what you call the mRNA vaccines, as I've explained earlier on, that there are different forms of cancer vaccines, and we also have gene-based vaccines. So mRNA vaccines are simply just gene-based vaccines. They've gained much attention or when it comes to their use in immunotherapy, because of their limited or low toxicity. They are simple and easy to use, and they don't give too many side effects. Hence, they have been like the favorites when it comes to many vaccine formulations. So here, on the structure is the mRNA. The mRNA. Here you can see the nano complex. It enters into the body. The mRNA is translated, and then here the, the antigen is formed, and then the antigen is presented to the immune system cells. And then I'll explain this process better on the next slide. So here, this is that process that I've said. I'll explain it better. Here is the dendritic cells. They present the antigen to the T cells. We have two different types of T cells. So now these T cells, they differentiate once they've interacted with the dendritic cells and have come in contact with the antigen. They then differentiate to form helper T cells, The helper T cells activate your natural killer cells, the macrophages and the granulocytes. So these ones, they release chemicals such as your cytokines to kill the tumor cells. So the cytotoxic T cells differentiate further to form memory T cells, and some of the cytotoxic T cells, they they release toxins which kills the tumor cells. And the memory T cells are actually important, as I've explained earlier on, that with your immunotherapy, it also provides protection for the body after the treatment. So these memory T cells, they memorize, they hold and memorize the antigens. So should there be a reinfection of the same kind of cancer, these will activate the immune system and then elicit a very strong immune response against the cancer cells. So to conclude, the use of nanovaccines is a very good form of a good approach for our immunotherapy, as it promises to it has what you call targeted drug delivery. So it doesn't just interact with cells at random, it goes to the specific site, and we can actually control how much of the vaccine you inject the person with, because you do not have to um, cater for whatever would be lost along the way, because most of it will actually reach the targeted site. So, however, we have a common challenge in the development of many medications, drugs, vaccines, etc. We have the challenge of cytotoxicity. However, we have vaccines such as your mRNA vaccines, which have shown to have limited cytotoxicity. Hence, it has gained much attention when it comes to vaccine formulation, as you also in the COVID-19 vaccine formulation. It has gained much attention as it has limited cytotoxicity. However, very, it is highly unstable, and hence it requires the aid of our nanomaterials in order to thrive within the human body and to have a prolonged time within the blood circulation. However, there are also other forms of treatments, as I've explained earlier on, the other forms of treatment which have also been incorporated with the use of nanomaterials. So, treatments such as your chemotherapy, which I've explained that it uses gold nanoparticles, and we also have photodynamic therapy, which is used for cancer. So this country, South Africa is one of the many countries in South Africa, in Africa, which are engaged, which are involved in nanomedicine research and product development. So in conclusion, nanovaccines show as to be a prominent solution for the many cancers that are out there. Thank you for your time.